Hello gamers, this is Falcon and welcome back to my arcade. Today we start a new series to give some insight into Guild Wars 2, both for the new player who may be experienced in other MMOs and those who are new to the MMORPG genre altogether. So why don't we get started? Hey, you there! Yes, you. You're a noob, aren't you? Welcome, my newbie friend, to boot camp. As a noob, you will require much instruction on playing the game, but where to begin, as there is a lot of ground to cover. Today, we will be taking you through the start of your Guild Wars 2 journey. From character creation, to exploration, questing, basic information on the equipment and the game itself, as well as some handy tips that all players should know. In future installments of this series, we will then be looking at story, leveling up your character, and what there is to do after reaching this milestone. So, get your noob cap on and let us begin our journey into playing Guild Wars 2, which is definitely not your average MMO. So, you've gotten the game, created your account, logged in and selected your region and a server to play on, which I would hope you don't require instruction on. You will then be presented with this screen, Character Select and Account Overview. As a noob, there will be little to look at on your character screen, as you will have no characters, no levels for PvP or World vs World, and definitely no masteries or achievements for the game to display for you. Now, let us jump into your first big MMORPG landmark. That's right, my eager noob. It's character creation time. As you can see, Guild Wars 2 has 5 playable races. You have your standard humans whom are called Critons, the Asura, long-eared, grey-skinned, short, mad scientists, a race of 10 feet tall Vikings called Norn that worship the spirits of animals, the Char, who are a race of steampunk cat people with horns and a love of war and conquest. Finally, the Sylvari, the newest race to the world. Living plant people like dryads, but with posh English accents. Now, depending on whether you have just downloaded the base game or have purchased the expansions, here you will either see 8 or 9 playable classes. The base game is free to play, however it only comes with the original 8 classes. For the best experience and access to all of that juicy content, let's assume you have been uncharacteristically wise and purchased the Path of Fire expansion, which will have Heart of Thorns, the first expansion, bundled with it. Offering you, in my opinion, the best value for money, a precious thing in these difficult times. So, here we have a choice of 9 unique classes or professions. 3 heavy armour, 3 medium armour, and 3 light armour. Each one offering a different playstyle, unique abilities and mechanics, and fun to be had for all. Now, first noob mistake to correct you on is that you may think every class or profession fits into the MMO Holy Trinity, but this is not the case, as in Guild Wars 2 the Holy Trinity does not exist in its traditional form. For the noobs amongst you who are not sure what I am on about, here is some exposition for you. The Holy Trinity refers to the 3 core roles in group content in other MMOs, where all classes fit into one of these 3 roles, which are Tank, a class normally that of a warrior or some other heavy armour class with high survivability, moderate damage, and the ability to keep the aggression of the attacking enemies on themselves rather than the rest of the group. Healers, normally a priest or mage style light armour class whose role is to keep the rest of the group, particularly the tank, alive through healing and damage mitigation. Any other role is a damage type, who are to attack the enemies either up close or from range, while the enemies are focused on the tank. Simple, yes? As mentioned, in Guild Wars 2 there are no classes that can only fit into the roles of tank, healer, or damage. Early on in the game, any class could have been built to have better survivability, and all classes were responsible for their own health upkeep. With the introduction of new content not in the original launch of the game, such as the Fractals of the Mist and then the inclusions of elite specializations and raids in the first expansion, new builds and roles have evolved. There are several key roles in in-game content now. There is the dedicated roles for damage, tanking, providing the teams boons and buffs, or full-on healing or supporting in other ways. However, your choice of class or elite specialization is not the be-all and end-all of the story. Your build and choice of armour and weapon stats is actually more important. Also, the class you think that would be best for these roles might not be what you're expecting in your noobish thinking. So, let us go through each of the 9 core classes in some quick detail. Each class has 2 elite specialisations to choose from upon reaching level 80, which gives them new flavour and can radically change the playstyle as they unlock new skills and the ability to use new weapon types previously not usable by their class. And a 3rd elite specialisation is expected in the next expansion, but let's leave the speculation on those to the professionals, shall we? Now for a brief description of the core classes and their elite specs. Heavy armour classes first. Warrior can use most weapons and has CC for days, that's crowd control to you, noob. Likes to get physical and doing tons of damage. Can become Berserker. That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry. Lots of fire and all new burst skills, and gets a torch. Or Spellbreaker. Your boons are mine now. Now comes with daggers. Also, here, have your damage back. Guardian, magical fighter. A paladin without the religion, has physical and magical attacks, can create spirit weapons and give buffs. Aegis for the win. Can become Dragon Hunter, longbow with magical attacks and big traps. Please and thank you. Firebrand. Gets an axe and magical tomes to throw fire and buffs at everything.
History is mine.
Revenant. Mysterious magical fighter who hears dead people. Can summon their abilities to fight enemies and help allies. Can become Herald, gets a shield and has Dragon for backup. Or Renegade, now I have a short bow, ha ha ha. Gets to summon charge to turn enemies into scratching posts. Next up, medium armour classes. Ranger. Like a hunter from other MMOs, but with more pets to choose from. Variety is the spice of life. Can become the Druid. You can't take the staff from me. Look, Mum, I'm a healer. Or the Soul Beast. I get to use dagger in main hand now. My pet and I are one. Check out this new trick it taught me.
Strength of the pack.
Thief. This also seems oddly familiar. Much stealing, stabbing, and time in the shadows. Can become Daredevil. I use my staff to get around. Good luck hitting me now. Or Deadeye. This is my rifle, this is my gun, this is for fighting, this is for fun. Finally, there is Engineer. Bombs, check. Potions, check. Grenades, check. Flamethrower, check. Can become the Scrapper. Say hello to my little friend. 1 drone, 2 drone, 5 drones? Or the Holosmith. A lightsaber was a Jedi's weapon, not as random or clumsy as a blaster. Holograms engaged. Fire the laser. The third group of classes is the light armor or spellcasters. The first light armor class, the Necromancer. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Can become the Reaper. Is it getting cold in here, or is it just me? My sword is bigger than yours. Spin to win. Or the Scourge. I loved the whole sand wall trick, it was beautiful. Best. The Elementalist. I am the Avatar. Earth, air, fire, water. Elementalist can become the Tempest. Toots his own horn, has some big over-the-top abilities. Or can become the Weaver. 2 elements, 1 sword. Are you crazy? Check out these sweet dance moves. Finally, we have the Mesmer. An illusionist but with actual magic. Now you see me, now you don't. Mesmer can either become the Chronomancer, I have a shield now and you are about to become the world's first time traveller. Or the Mirage, an axe-wielding walking desert illusion. In order to train either of the 2 elite specialisations to be able to use in all game mode, you must first reach max level and have fully unlocked your core specialisation. Once you have selected your race, gender, core class, you get to enter the in-depth character creation process, which starts with choices of certain presets, faces, figures, hairstyles, which you can then adjust to a high degree. Here is the process sped up just for you to get an idea of the amount of different looks you can get for the basic look of your hero. Once you have chosen the look of your hero, you then get to make some choices that will affect early story missions and finally enter what you would like to name your hero. For this demonstration we will go with So, you have chosen a race, a core class, created your hero and went through the introductory story quests, and are now out in the open world. But where to begin? Well, my clueless newbie, if you have played other MMOs, you may be tempted to go looking for NPCs with exclamation marks above their heads to start your questing journey. But not in this game. I have heard that many people can't get into Guild Wars 2 as they do not know what to do to progress, but here is a hint. When you get out into the open world, the best option would be to first find yourself a scout. These are NPCs with a telescope symbol above their head, like this one. Interacting with these will bring you up the local area on your world map and direct you to locations with golden heart symbols. These are the questing system in Guild Wars 2. But how to begin? Do you have to go to each of them to start the quest? No, you utter noob. These quests are active at all times until you complete them. All a Guild Wars 2 player has to do is to go to the area where the heart is, and the tasks required to complete the heart will appear towards the top right hand side of your screen below the map. Each heart quest has 2 or 3 or maybe even more tasks you can do to fill up the heart progress bar. Once you have completed the quest, the NPC with the heart symbol above their head will become a vendor, where you can interact with them and buy new gear or various other things. This is not, however, all you can do to level your character, my noob friend. Exploration is a big part of leveling in Guild Wars 2, and you will be rewarded for exploring. There are 5 symbols on each map you will need to be aware of in order to get map completion, and gain rewards including a nice chunk of experience along with gear, crafting supplies, and other such things. So what are these icons and what can you do with them? First up, waypoints. In the core game, before mounts and gliding were added to make getting around easier, the game had waypoints. One of the best fast travel systems I have seen in the game, purely because it had both a practical and lore reason to exist. Heroes are able to travel to any waypoints they have unlocked through exploration for a small in-game currency cost. The Asuras need their cash for all that mad science they get up to after all. Heart points. As discussed, these are the main form of questing in Guild Wars 2, and one only needs to go to the vicinity around the heart vendor to be able to start participating in said quest. Points of interest. Like the name suggests, these are areas on the map that have either buildings, artifacts, or other curiosities for you to go and explore. That's right, not only are you a noob, but you're also a tourist, and you should go and look at these things while on your journey through the map. Vistas. Another stop on your tourist journey. Vistas are artifacts on the map you can interact with to be shown a short cutscene displaying the pixelated majesty around you. Finally, hero points. These are challenges or areas of power to interact with and gain points you can use to unlock your abilities and the specialisations that will make up your build. Each map has several of everything we've just discussed, which you have to find and either unlock or complete on your journey to max level, my young newbie. The main user interface areas of Guild Wars 2 are located at the top left corner and bottom centre of the screen. Now, the icons at the top left include the main menu where, just like any other game, you can adjust the game settings, report bugs, go to character select, or exit the game altogether. Next, the social menu, as I call it, as this includes your friends or contact list, the block list, but most importantly the looking for group menu. Here you can look for groups or advertise your own to participate in all content the game has to offer. Then there is the hero panel, which is the most important menu in the game, as here it includes your hero's equipment, so armour, weapons, trinkets and backpiece. It is here you can also access the Guild Wars 2's wardrobe system, where you can decide what your 6 armour pieces, weapons and backpiece look like. You also have the dye panel where you can dye parts of your armour. Each armour piece has up to 4 dye channels, so you can come up with some great combinations. There is yet more cosmetics as well, such as the outfits, which are skins that take over the full look of your character, if you don't feel like fashioning your own look. Mount and glider skins, as well as miniatures and novelties. We will be going over the wardrobe system in more detail, as well as many more things in future installments of the series. Suffice to say though, Fashion Wars is the true endgame of any MMO, and the wardrobe system is another notch in the belt of Guild Wars 2. Additionally, in the hero menu you have your builds and training panels where you can spend your points to unlock abilities and trait lines known in Guild Wars 2 as your specialisation. You then have your personal story panel, which allows you to keep track of which part of the engrossing story you are on, or to go back to previous chapters so you can unlock achievements related to those story chapters. Finally, you have the crafting, achievement and masteries panels, all of which we will revisit in future videos. Moving on to the inventory menu. Here is where anything your hero picks up will be stored and you can then decide what to do with it. Hint for you, my noob friend. Click on the Deposit All button in the menu and anything that is crafting material will be sent to your bank for safekeeping. The mail menu is up next, and this is where you can manage any of your incoming and outgoing mail. Followed up by the guild panel. Here you can choose between one of the 5 guilds you can be a member of and keep track of anything guild related. We will go into all the different functionality of this in future installments. Then there is the World vs World and PvP menus. These allow you to respectively enter a World vs World map, track your progress on rewards, and assign points to abilities in World vs World, or to enter the PvP lobby and select a queue to enter, and then keep track of your progress and also manage tournaments. Finally, there is the Black Lion Trading Company menu, which is a Guild Wars 2's version of an auction house combined with a cosmetic shop. Now then, we have 2 more things to discuss on this first part of our Noobs Guide series. Throughout the game, you will be presented with gear to use on your character. Armours, weapons, trinkets, all of this make up your gear. With Guild Wars 2, what role you play depends on your chosen build, which is down to your specialisation, elite spec, but mostly on which stats your gear has. The higher quality gear you have, the more different types of endgame content you can do after reaching level 80. Having gear with matching stats is very important, but the higher tier your gear is, the higher stat numbers it will come with. So let's go through them just now. The lowest quality of gear is basic. You can recognise these as having a grey border around the item in your inventory. Followed by fine, which has a blue border. Any gear with a green border is masterwork, and a yellow border is rare gear. Now, exotic gear has an orange border and is essentially the highest quality gear to get, and is your standard to have for being level 80 and looking to move on to endgame content. Atop the exotic tier gear is the highest tier, which is split between ascended gear and legendary. Both ascended and legendary gear offer the same numbers when it comes to stats. However, legendary gear are prestige items, sought after to show off your beautiful equipment to those around you in the true endgame. Fashion Wars. Ascended gear is mostly required if you wish to participate in the endgame content Fractals of the Mist, and is available through crafting once you have gotten a crafting profession to max level, or through purchase via raid currency or by random drops in high level Fractals. We shall discuss Fractals of the Mist in greater detail in future videos. Getting legendary gear is a large time and gold sink. The only advantage they offer over Ascended is that you can swap which stats are in use on legendary gear out of combat on the fly. The last topic of this video is an artifact of great use in the hub city of Lion's Arch, where there is a magical fountain looking structure called the Mystic Forge. The Mystic Forge is used to combine items of similar quality into new items, and can sometimes even result in higher quality gear. Now, you will be unable to combine gear which is of 2 or more different qualities together, but here I combine 4 masterwork quality pieces of gear and end up getting a rare in exchange. The Mystic Forge, my noob learner, has many uses, such as the creation of components or combining of components used in the making of legendary gear. Creating new items and skins to aid in your sense of completionism, as well as handy items to aid you in your journey throughout Guild Wars 2. It has its limitations, but there is a list of recipes on the Guild Wars 2 wiki to aid you in what to do. So, we have come to the end of the first part of our guide for you noob learners out there. But I will be back with future installments on Guild Wars 2 and noob guides for other games, as well as a guide on what you need in order to craft a legendary weapon, and a video explaining why I think Guild Wars 2 is one of, if not the best MMORPG. And so I look forward to welcoming you back to my arcade, and with this I wish you goodbye.
Human being, something inside you. It's hard to explain. They're talking about you, but you're still the same. There's something inside you. It's hard to explain. They're talking about you, boy, but you're still the same. There's something inside you. It's hard to explain. They're talking about you, boy, but you're still the same.